Hearthstone was originally released with 9 classes, and every expansion would release a number of cards for these same classes. Then in 2020 the Demon Hunter class was released, and after that the Death Knight class in 2022. But that kinda means that there were a lot of expansions that those two classes weren't present for. Before Demon Hunter was released, there were a whopping 13 expansions out there. But have you ever wondered what it'd be like if Demon Hunter received cards to match those expansions? Well, then this video might be something for you. You may have seen my Miniset Miracles series, where I go back to each older expansion and imagine what their minisets could look like. This video would be a sort of companion piece to that series. You see, in that series I mentioned the possibility of the older expansions returning to standard alongside the new minisets I've made for them. But I don't know what you think. To me it just doesn't seem fair that only the 9 original classes would benefit from that. So in this video I made cards for Demon Hunter that they would receive alongside the very first expansions re-released to standard, Goblins vs Gnomes. Goblins vs Gnomes had 8 cards for each class, so I've made 8 cards for Demon Hunter. I'll show them in just a bit, but first I'll very quickly explain my rules for this video. Some of you may have wanted to see Demon Hunter cards on the power level of the ones from Goblins vs Gnomes, but the idea is that these cards would be released to standard Hearthstone today using modern keywords, and like I said earlier, the entire Goblins vs Gnomes expansion would get re-released to standard alongside these cards. I've also made a mini set that would get re-released to standard alongside these cards too. Stay until the end of the video to find a link for that. Now let's get into the cards I've made. Goblins vs Gnomes was a bit all over the place with its theme. GVG had legendary minions from all over Azeroth and beyond, but GVG also introduced the mech minion type to Hearthstone, and every class got a few cards that supported this direction. But some classes got more than just a few mech cards. For this video I decided to take Demon Hunter down a new direction. The cards in this video would support a never before seen mech Demon Hunter archetype, starting with a card like Moarch Doomsmith. Moarch Doomsmith is a 7-mana 6/8 mech demon that will summon a 3/3 mech with taunt at the end of your turn. But then if the Doomsmith survives until the start of your turn, it will summon a 3/3 mech with rush instead, and this cycle will carry on until the Doomsmith dies. Demon Hunter in Hearthstone is well known for their Illidari Initiate token, which is a 1/1 minion with rush that is summoned by many Demon Hunter cards. This package for Demon Hunter would introduce a new spin on the Illidari Initiate, the 1LL1 D4R1 Initiate.
Lord Illidan knows the way.
This new token is identical to the Illidari Initiate in every way, except it's a mech. But this new token would still be considered an Illidari Initiate if there's ever a card printed that looks at that. These new tokens are summoned by a couple cards in the set, such as Fell Fuel and Illidari Engineer. Demon Hunter's single legendary this expansion would also summon these new mech tokens, introducing B4L, N4C, C4R.
I sense intruders.
B4L, I really didn't help myself with the names this time. Balnazzar is a 6-mana 3/6 mech demon, and while he's on the battlefield, all your mechs will gain +2 attack until the end of the turn whenever they attack. This will include Balnazzar himself, as he's also a mech. Balnazzar will also summon 2 1/1 mechs with rush to benefit from his aura effect. Goblins vs Gnomes didn't have its own keyword, but it introduced the new spare part cards. The spare parts were 1-mana token spells that could be generated by a lot of cards in the set, but the spare parts are pretty old and are not really on the power level of modern cards, so my update to GVG would also improve on some of the spare parts. I already mentioned this in my mini-set video, so I'll try to keep these updates brief. The spare part Whirling Blade will increase its bonus to +3 attack and armor plating to +3 health. Rusty Horn would now also give the minion Divine Shield in addition to taunt, and Time Rewinder will also reduce the cost of the minion it returns to your hand by 2. Finally, Emergency Coolant will silence a minion before it freezes it. The last 2 spare parts will remain unchanged. The reason I bring these changes to the spare part up now is because Demon Hunter would get their own way to generate spare parts, Sigil of Repairs. Sigil of Repairs is a 1-mana shadow spell that will activate at the start of your next turn, like all sigils, and then give you a spare part for each minion you control. Demon Hunter would also get a couple more basic support cards, like the new Air Barrage spell and the Gloom Cutter weapon. The last card I made for Demon Hunter this expansion is the new epic minion, Disoriented Matey.
You there! Attack!
Disoriented Matey is a 6-mana 6/5 pirate who is a long way from home. Disoriented Matey has tradable and will give all your minions rush while he's on the battlefield, including himself. But if you're not willing to invest 6 mana for rush, you could also just trade him and he will give one of your minions rush. I figure this effect would get implemented with some clever coding, so it will only give rush to one of your minions that can't attack. Well, that's it for my Demon Hunter cards for Goblins vs Gnomes. I really hope you guys like this video, because if you do, I plan on making this another series for the channel, where I would revisit all expansions Demon Hunter wasn't present for and give them cards to match the set, and then even move on to Death Knight cards after a while. So if you're interested in this becoming a series, make sure to hit that like button and leave a comment for the algorithm. And maybe subscribe for more custom Hearthstone content. The channel just passed 1,000 subscribers, so thanks everyone who's subscribed so far. And thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, and here's a link for that Goblins vs Gnomes mini set I made, if you're interested in watching that too. See ya!